Hello, boys and girls. We are on day 4 of our story, The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, and we are going to read our paired selection today. So, we see that our genre of our paired selection is drama. A drama is a story that is to be acted out. It usually includes dialogue or lines that characters speak to one another. A drama will also include descriptions of settings. This will let readers know where and when the drama takes place. A drama may include stage directions or specific instructions about how to perform. Read the heroic Paul Revere. While reading, think about ways this drama is similar to and different from the original poem. So, when I look at page 312, which is this very first page right here, I see a list of characters or the cast that's titled right here. A book or poem would not include a character list, right? So, what is another word other than a drama for what we're about to read? That's right, guys, a play. I know that a play includes cast or characters so that the reader knows who is in the play and what the characters' roles in the story are. So it tells us all the characters that are going to be in our play. It even has scene 1, and on our next page it has scene 2, and we'll talk about that a little more once we're done reading. So our cast is Henry Wadsworth Longfellow as Longfellow, Paul Revere, Colonist, British Soldier 1, and British Soldier 2. Note, this play includes a scene where the character of Paul Revere rides a horse. The horse does not need to be a real horse. The actor can either pretend to ride a horse or a simple prop, such as a toy horse, can be used. That's a note to whoever is directing the play or if they're putting on a play so that they know that there's a scene with a horse, but they don't have to ride a real horse. Scene 1, the setting. Colonial Boston in 1775, night. Paul Revere and a colonist stand before a church. Sorry, I lost my place. On the stage is a small house and a fence. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow enters. So someone wouldn't actually say Henry Wadsworth Longfellow enters out loud if it was a real play. That is a stage direction telling that person to come onto the stage. Longfellow. Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. What's that? You don't know the tale? Well, allow me to set the stage for you. The date is April 18, 1775. The American colonies in England are on the brink of war. Paul Revere speaks to his friend, a colonist. So in an actual play, the names that we see, like Longfellow, Revere, colonist, you wouldn't say those because that's just telling you who is going to speak. But when we're reading today, I am going to say it just so you know who's speaking and you don't get confused and think I'm just one person reading the whole thing. Revere. If the British march by land or sea from Boston tonight, hang a lantern aloft in the belfry arch of the North Church Tower, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. Colonist. Yes, sir. Revere. I will be on the opposite shore, ready to ride my horse and spread the alarm. Do you understand? Colonist. Yes, sir. The two men shake hands. Again, that's in parentheses and italics. If it was an actual play, we would not say that. The two men would just actually shake hands. Revere says, good night, my friend, and good luck. And then Paul would have left the stage. The colonist, what a brave man, but I mustn't waste time. I must find out what the British are up to. Longfellow. The colonist wandered through the streets, listening for British soldiers. He didn't have to wait long. Several British soldiers exit the house, yelling loudly. The colonist hides behind the fence. Sure, you remember reading about that in our story. Again, those are stage directions. No one would have said that in a play. That would have just been happening. British soldier 1. The time has come to teach these rebels a lesson. Soldier 2. To the boats. Colonist. Listen to that. The British soldiers are on the move, and they are marching down to their boats on the shore. I must warn Mr. Revere. And that is the end of scene 1. So, Longfellow is kind of like our narrator in this play. And we just read scene 1. Why do you think that the author ended scene 1 with the colonist's discovery of how the British soldiers will be traveling to Boston? Why do you think he chose to end scene 1 there? That's right, guys. It's a natural place to end scene 1, right? The colonist has gotten the information that he needed, which was his first task. Now he has to start his second task, which is getting that information to Paul Revere. Stopping there also creates a little bit of suspense, right? Because you're not sure what's going to happen next. Do you know if the colonists will get the information to Paul Revere in time? We don't know. We'll have to keep reading to find out, right? So it creates a little bit of suspense, and it's just a natural stopping point. How is that colonist going to get that information to Paul Revere? That's right, guys. He's going to light a lantern. 1, if they're traveling by land, and 2, if they're traveling by sea. And we just heard them say, get to the boat. So how many lanterns is he going to light? 2. Good job, guys. Let's keep reading. Once this loads, and this time on this scene, I'm not going to read the names, and I just want you to follow along with me so that you know who is talking at what time, okay? The colonist is standing inside the church's belfry. He places 1 lantern on the belfry. Paul Revere enters from the opposite side of the stage. Remember, anything we see in italics or parentheses, like here or here, is not something that would be said in a play. It is something that the actors would just do. Look, it's a light. 1 light. Then the colonist places another lantern. A second light. The British are coming by sea. I must get my horse ready. We must ride and warn the colonists. With a hurry of hoofs, Paul Revere rode off. Just imagine the sight. A shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark. The fate of a nation was riding that night. Ride, my friend, faster! And it says that he would have yelled that from off stage. And Paul Revere enters the stage riding a horse. And remember, we had a note at the beginning that did not have to be a real horse, right? At 12 o'clock, he crossed the bridge into Medford town. At 1 o'clock, he galloped into Lexington. At 2 o'clock, he rode into Concord. The people, safe and asleep in their beds, heard him exclaim, "The British are coming! The British are coming!" So through the night read Paul Revere. He cried the alarm to every village and farm, a cry of defiance and not of fear. His voice called in a voice that shall echo forevermore. "The British are coming!" And the people fought bravely. Thus ends our tale. Now, if anyone asks you what it means to be a hero, you can tell them about the midnight ride of Paul Revere. So in the first scene, I remember that action happens in front of a church, and Paul exits the stage to get on his horse, and he waits for the signal, right? In the second scene, one of the characters has moved to the Belfry Tower, and Paul is all the way on the opposite shore. So scene 2 takes place a short time after scene 1, when the characters have had time to change locations. The change from scene 1 and scene 2 is meant to represent a short passage of time and a change of place, right? Because in real life, it would have taken Paul a little bit of time to get from the tower to the shore. And so that change from scene 1 to scene 2 gives not only the characters in the play time to change places, but it also represents the actual change in time that happened when this midnight ride actually happened. So on page 315, why does the author include a narrator in the play? And we talked about Longfellow as our narrator. Why does he include Longfellow in what he says? That's right, guys. The author's trying to give you background information that's not dialogue, which is characters talking to one another. If we didn't have what Longfellow was saying, like especially right here, at 12 o'clock he crossed the bridge into Medford town. At 1 o'clock he galloped into Lexington. At 2 o'clock he rode into Concord. We wouldn't know what Paul was doing because people aren't necessarily talking in the play during that time. So without a narrator to tell us what was happening, we wouldn't know what was happening, right? Alrighty, guys, that is all for our comprehension part of today. You do have a short assignment right below this video. It is a author's purpose sort. So you will have little paragraphs and sort them into the correct author's purpose. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope that you have a great day.